My name is Elliott Wiles. I'm an 8th grader at Wabash Middle School, and today I will be interviewing Brian Zolman, who is an electrical engineer at 40 Meter Box. First question, where do you work and how long have you worked there?
Well, I currently work at 40 Meter Box. I've been there about 4.5 years. And before that, I worked for what is now called Wabash Castings here in Wabash. And I worked there for about 24 years.
What are your job duties there?
Well, it's kind of broad. I don't have one specific focus from day to day. So one of the things I do, I was brought in to upgrade controls on equipment because 40 Meter Box has been around for a long time, and so a lot of the equipment is starting to get older and the controls are older. So one of my responsibilities is to work my way through the plant, starting with leak testing, and I upgrade the controls on those. I also do runoffs on new equipment, and from day to day, if something breaks down, then I get called to go work with an electrician or one of the other engineers anywhere throughout the plant, from the foundry, machining, assembly, anywhere. I even do some things like I used to work on the phone system. If there's new lighting projects, I get involved with that. And so it's a little bit something different every day.
Okay. What training or education did you do to receive this job?
So I went to college, got a bachelor's degree, and my degree is actually in computer integrated manufacturing technology.
Okay.
And during that time, I also, as far as training, I worked as a co-op student with Wabash Castings. It was CMI back then. And when I worked there, they started out, I worked in production just to get an idea what that was like. And then I worked with maintenance, and we did pulled wire and ran conduit, installed new equipment, did daily preventative maintenance, fixed machines when they broke, and all that kind of thing. So I got a lot of good hands-on experience doing that while I worked my way through college. And then now, about yearly, all of us take some time to get more educated because things change constantly. So,
Yeah.
Wabash Electric here in town, they host some training seminars on new equipment from Allen Bradley, and so we do some of that kind of stuff. And then here and there, just take some classes to keep up to date.
How did you pay for your training?
Well, I got really lucky there. So my parents paid for my freshman year of college. And after my freshman year, I ended up getting a co-op with CMI. And at that time, it was kind of a crazy deal that probably don't see too many times these days, but they paid for all of my tuition, my housing, my books, everything from that point on. And when I got done with college, they offered me a job. So I didn't have to pay it back. I didn't have to work for a specific amount of time. And I got paid while I worked each semester. So I went to school a semester and I went to work a semester, back and forth. So it took an extra year to get through college, but it was obviously well worth it because it saved my parents having to pay for much of anything after my first year.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
What is the best and worst part of your job?
Oh boy. The best part is, it's kind of a toss, but it sounds strange, but it's actually fun when something does break down because you have to go troubleshoot and figure it out and really think and work with other people. And I like doing that. I don't like for machines to be down, obviously, but
Yeah.
it makes it interesting. It's also been one of the things I've really liked is I've done several machine runoffs for new equipment. And so we go and we visit the supplier and we look at all the electrical schematics and the panels, make sure everything's built correctly, and then we run the machine. And so that's been pretty neat. I enjoy doing that. The worst part, probably the worst part, the hardest part is keeping up with all the new safety and electrical codes. Because every year it seems like there's updates and things get a little stricter and a little harder, but you got to make sure that you're safe and the people that are out on the floor are safe. And so keeping up with that and making sure when we do something new, sometimes I'll design a new control panel. I have to make sure it's all up to code and that no one can get injured or hurt. So that's the hardest part.
Um, what is your typical day on the job like? You just fix things all day, or?
No, every day is kind of different, which was one of the things I like. So today, this morning, I spent some time. I'm actually testing a tester. So yeah, I'm in charge of all the leak testers in the plant, and so I had the tester running a self-diagnosis over and over and over, and then I have to take all the data from that and compare it to some of the others and see if there's issues. Um, Late last week, one day, I had some stuff planned for the afternoon, and I got a call that one of the robots was malfunctioning. So went over there to it was in another building, and the robot, one of the joints had gone bad. There really wasn't anything we could do as far as repairing it on the spot, so we pulled the whole robot out, went and got another one put in place, updated the controls and the programs for that robot, and got it all back up and running. And so every day can be a little different.
What tools or equipment do you use on the job?
Well, tools and equipment wise, honestly, for most of the stuff I do, not a whole lot. Always a laptop, because we're out on the floor connecting to equipment. And so a lot of the software, lots of different software packages. Allen Bradley is a lot of our controls, so there's a lot of different software packages we use to communicate with the equipment. Of course, you've always got a multimeter and a little screwdriver. That'll get you a long ways with a lot of the stuff I do. CAD, of course. So if I'm doing something new or making a new schematic, we use one of the CAD systems, either AutoCAD or I can't think of the name of the one I typically use, but it's very similar to the AutoCAD. And then I also do a little bit more than just standard electrical stuff, so I do SolidWorks drawings for some of the stuff for the testers, and actually 3D models and things. Other than that, now when I talk about some of the safety codes, so now for arc flash, I don't know if you've ever heard of that, but it's something that can happen when you're in an electrical panel, where if something goes wrong, a flash of basically a fireball and whatnot can come out. So it's never happened, never seen it happen, but part of the code now is each piece of equipment has to be arc flash rated to a certain level. And so you need to make sure you know what that is when you work inside that equipment. And so you might have to wear long sleeves or a helmet with a face mask and a thing they call a balaclava that's like kind of like a ski mask. So if something bad were to happen, you'd be protected. So not too often I have to put any of that stuff on, but it's one of the tools.
What was your favorite classes when you were a student?
Well, when I was more your age, I liked all the shop classes and the different things. I remember building an electric motor, doing all the windings ourselves, and testing that out to see who could get the highest top speed on their motor and things like that. I always thought that was neat. I always liked all the CAD classes, which has been good. So I like to learn how to draw and do those things. Of course, the electrical classes in college were neat, and then we did PLC programming, which was fun, and we learned a few other programming languages. One of them was Fortran, which was a machine language that I don't think anybody really uses anymore, but it was neat to learn those things, so those were all fun.
As a kid, what did you want to be when you grew up? Is this your dream job, or is it not?
Well, this was not on my radar at all as a kid growing up. So as a kid, I wanted to be an architect, actually. And so that was part of the reason I took a lot of the drafting classes and took architecture class and things like that. But then I figured out how much school I was going to have to take, and I said, maybe I'll do something different. So I got led kind of down this path at that point.
What advice do you have for a student who wants to go down your career path like me?
Well, the first thing, like at your age, is start getting some hands-on. Even if it's just, following a parent or a grandparent or a friend around if they're changing a light switch, just learn how the basic stuff works. I don't know if you've had a chance. When I was probably about your age, I did electrical 4-H 2 different years. So we learned a lot of neat stuff there. I'd say, I don't know back when I was a kid, we'd get the Radio Shack 160-in-1 electrical project kit and build up different circuits, and so that kind of stuff really teaches you the basics to get you started, and it's great, especially if those, I bought my daughter something similar a few years ago. It was called snap circuits, where it's kind of like Legos, but you build electrical circuits and do different things.
Okay.
Really neat. You can get them on Amazon. But the advice I give is, if you're going to do that, don't just look at the pictures and put it together and say, "Yay, that works." Take time and try to understand what's happening. How is this working? And what if I change this or do something different? Does it still work? Yeah, experiment. So that's the kind of stuff to start getting you started. And of course, take all the math classes you can get, because if you want to be an electrical engineer, there's going to be a lot of math down the road. So,
do you enjoy your job?
Yep, I do. It's like I say, it's something different every day, which I like. Now, if I was maybe stuck behind a desk and all I did was draw a circuit day after day, I'd probably get tired of that. But I like to be out on the floor and doing stuff within the factory, and so I really enjoy doing those kind of things.
Thank you for answering my questions. I really appreciate that, and I think others will too.
All right, thank you.